Okay. You got me today. Billy's off on vacation somewhere warm. Joining me today, once again, is Rebecca, my lovely wife.
Indeed. I am lovely.
Ugh, Jesus. This is the Maine Responder Podcast. Real conversations about work, the pressure, and lives shaped by service. There's no single thing here, no script, just Rebecca is here again. You heard her on the first episode, so nice to have you back.
Thanks for having me.
Last Friday, I was a co-presenter for a training at the York County Regional Training Center. I hope I got that right. I think that's all the words in the title. First of all, I got to say it was really nice in there.
It's a really nice facility.
It was almost a little bit intimidating, like when I walked in there, because I had like that college, that academic vibe with the like stadium seating. The lights were dim. It was awesome. I really liked it, and it's just motivating for first responders to have a facility like that in our own backyard, just to be able to train and all that. I think it's a huge game changer. So big shout out to every single person that made that happen. It was cool to be able to be there on the presenter side, and the topic was basically moral injury, burnout. The gist was that it's not always the call for service that really stings. I like that topic. So I volunteered to speak about it along with Dr. Karen Harmon and Abby Brown, who were both fantastic. Collaborating together, I thought was really cool because I kind of just got to listen to them talk, and I was like soaking it all in and learning. So it was good. It was a great class, but that's not really what we're going to talk about today. So I'm just going to get into it. One of the things, though, during that presentation, Rebecca's here with me because she attended the class. And one of the things that just ended up organically coming out of it was the concept of using the word family within the first responder circles. What I mean is that we often say at work, we're a family. We're a family here. I've said it before, like trying to do my recruiting spiel for people that wanted to come on and join the team. Oh, you're going to love it here. We're like a family. So I definitely have done it. But then at times you realize that you're just not a family. And the reason why I think this is kind of cool to talk about is because you and I were talking about it, and you just had a really nice way to explain everything that was in my brain that I couldn't really get out. So I'm going to look to you right now to do the same thing.
Well, I think it's something we've talked about at home before, and kind of the concept that there should be a difference between work and family. And it's just not something that you've kind of ever talked about in public before. So I cringed a little when you dropped it in a room full of people, because I think there is a belief that it's a, brotherhood, sisterhood, a family atmosphere. And I did not know how it was going to go over in the room.
If you recall, I kind of said, hang on, I want to go back to this. I just felt compelled to say it. Too many little things that I have been holding on to inside that I don't say. And then when I say them, people are like, oh man, I was thinking that, or I'm so glad you said that. And it was kind of a risk. I guess I just rolled how I always roll. I'm going to say it. It's how I feel. And even if people don't agree, it's how I feel.
Bring your authentic self. That's how you connect with people, being authentic. I think that's true for everyone. When I think about it, I have mixed feelings about that concept. The biggest one being that when first responders go to work, you want for everyone there to protect the community that they serve, but you also want them to protect one another and get them home safe. So in that sense, you kind of want them to feel like family, because you want to take care of your family and make sure that your family's safe. On the other hand, I think when you start identifying your family as people at work, it's easy to then reinforce putting your family at home second, or it's easy to then start saying, it's okay if I miss this, or, oh, it's okay if I jump on that overtime or that detail, and just kind of put your family that's at home second to the workplace.
It seems silly that, just using that word, is going to mess with your psyche or your brain, where it's going to be, impactful in that way. I got into police work searching for a camaraderie similar to what I felt in the military. But those are two different things. I realize that now. When you have these ideas and you have these, I guess maybe even as a chief, I had these ideas and thoughts. I'm gonna change things. I'm gonna make them great. Everybody's behind you, supporting you, seemingly. Then all of a sudden something happens and you're like, wait a minute, they're not as invested. And I mean, there's no other way for me to say it other than it hurts your feelings. And it makes you realize, like, this is not what I thought it was. This is actually, they don't give a shit. And of course they don't you know what I mean? And it's okay. Look, you got to just play the game when you're at work. So as long as they give a shit when they're at work, great. I think I was just so invested that I wanted to take it further. I did say, hey, we're family. And that was never really like how I felt about my family. But it did work on my psyche, if that even makes sense. It was something that I wanted inside. I wanted to be close with these people. And I still do. It's not that. It's just different. Line has been drawn, and it's actually better. And my expectation, I want to be careful here, but it's lower. But I haven't changed my passion for wellness, taking care of one another, growing officers that don't have as much experience. Like that's what drives me now, different than the patrol work or investigative work. And now I feel like it's my responsibility to make sure that people are well to a degree, the best I can.
The different perspectives that were brought by you and Abby and Karen, one of the concepts that was discussed was like institutional betrayal. And when you think about that occurring, whether it be a missed promotion or feeling like you weren't supported after a particular call or event, if you're identifying and really feel like the workplace is a family place, when those types of betrayals occur or those kinds of disappointments occur, it's going to cut deeper than if you have that boundary that allows for you to say, this is my workplace. My family is outside of these four walls. What do you think?
It's exactly it. It cut deeper. And a little bit of that is just, again, like I just kind of being repetitive a little bit, but just how invested I was, just that philosophy of wellness and taking care of each other. And it was just, we were moving together in one direction. When that experience happens, when you're like, oh, people aren't bought in, it does cut deep. I can't really think of a better way to say it.
And I think when you have those lack of boundaries, it allows for your feelings to be more invested than they should. And then that impacts your wellness at work. There's no way around it. If you're feeling betrayed and then you're feeling hurt that people you felt like were your family were always going to be there for you, there's no way that doesn't impact your overall wellness, your performance at work, your commitment at work. Probably impacts people's commitment to that particular workplace. And then I wonder if it impacts, like if people are constantly looking for that, are they going to different departments and looking for that and seeking that out? And does it really even exist? And should it exist is the bigger question, that concept of family. Or is it that we're just needing to redefine what that looks like? Because you can have a supportive work environment. You can have people that have your back and are looking out for you safely without calling them family. Just re-identifying what that is and setting those boundaries so that way when those betrayals occur, you understand that it's happening in the context of work and not your family.
The boundaries is an important thing. it still doesn't take away your caring on a different level for your colleagues. It really doesn't. There are things and moments that bring you together.
You still want everybody to get along, enjoy coming to work, get home safely. You still want all of those things. You can still have all of those things and achieve all of those things, but identifying it in a different way than using the term and the concept family.
I've been enjoying writing some of these blog things, little ideas that come up, and then I try to find articles that support it. And of course, there's a ton of them out there. They're not about first responders. They're not about police or fire or it's not that. It's actually corporate organizations. And a few articles that I found in Harvard Business Review that go into the same concept. Your coworkers aren't your family, and it's just about the boundaries. And it's the same conversation. So as I start digging deeper, it's all very similar because it's a freaking job.
Well, I think what's so funny is that you're coming to this revelation for you now.
Yeah.
But remember when I worked at my prior employer, and there was definitely some institutional betrayal there that occurred. Mm-hmm. And I was really committed to my team. You remember? Yeah. I loved my team. They were hardworking. I wanted to support them and be there for them. And I just was not functioning well, like from a wellness perspective, it was not healthy. That work environment was not healthy for me personally, but I had such a strong commitment to my team that, do you remember us sitting and having this conversation? And I was just like, well, I don't think that I can make that move because I don't want to hurt my team or impact my team. And do you remember what you said to me?
Clearly I don't, because then we might not even be having this conversation.
You said to me, if your employees were offered a substantial amount of money or the ability to take their dream job across the country and live in a villa, all of these amazing things, would they turn that down for you?
Right.
And it kind of hurt my feelings that you said that. But it was true. And I think that's that same concept. They weren't my family and I can't make decisions for them. And I had to have that boundary, and I did not have a good boundary about that. And then the minute that I set that boundary, not that I was leaving them, that I was making a choice for myself. Mm-hmm. I ended up moving on into a career that was just really a good step for me. It allowed me to open more doors and do different things. But had I continued to stay in that mindset of, I don't know, that they were like my work family and that I owed them something, or those pieces that I would, not have been taking care of myself. And I didn't have good boundaries around that. And honestly, that team, I still talk to most of them. They've all made amazing changes in their own careers, and most of them have moved in different directions, and none of them are still in the same position. So it clearly was the right message. My point is that it exists in all types of work environments, not just the responder world, but I think the sense of safety and keeping each other safe is what drives that feeling of family, because when you think of your own family, you want to keep them safe. And I think that's the concept that is being applied to the first responder world, is that concept of wanting to keep each other safe and making sure everybody's taken care of. They don't have to be family to do that.
Yeah. So it's so funny because you can, it's easy to offer advice. It's like looking from the outside in and to offer advice. And clearly I don't even remember that I said that. Good advice though, but then you forget it. When you're entangled in your own noise, it's harder to figure that stuff out for yourself. But like one thing I know for a fact, and I think it's a strong point about the relationships that do happen at work for anybody, for first responders or anywhere. And I think you just said it, is that you still care for those people.
100%.
Like you still talk about, I've seen some of them with you. And I would say, a kind of an outsider at that time, like not only did you have an impact on them as a leader, but vice versa. And that's awesome. That's what it's about, I think. And that's kind of where I am now. Like now I just I want the people under me to, especially people that are newer and they're coming up and they're navigating the stuff that I, have navigated. I just want that, I just want great things for them, but it's in a little bit of a different way. And it's actually better. You can almost, step back and see a little bit more clearly than when you're thinking, oh, this isn't going to come out right. But like, we're in this together. We're all part of the same, like it's all right. People don't have to like wellness, as long as you're following policy and doing all the right things and treating the public well, that's good. That's great.
You can't expect everyone to have the same likes, desires, commitments, work ethics that you hold personally. And that's something that I've had to learn over the years, is that people can just show up and do their job and go home. They have no obligation to have to do anything outside of that. And when you create expectations that people do have to do that, or like in your mind, you have those, that people should, that's when you start sometimes getting let down by the people that you work with.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The other thing I wanted to say is how many stories have we heard, even from people not around here, that they retire, they move on.
They look younger.
Yeah, they look great, but they're also not really hearing from their former colleagues. So it is a job. It's a machine. And when you go, they're going to replace you. And it's important not to forget that. And I don't want that last part to sound cold. Like I don't care, whatever. I mean,
this all boils down to balance.
Balance. Yeah. Yep.
And boundaries.
Yep. I guess the sooner we learn that, I think the better organization. And I bet you there's a ton out there that are doing it right. I'm just speaking from my experience and the lessons that I've learned. And sadly, I've learned them later than I wished I had. But or clearly from this conversation, I knew it. I just didn't care to apply it to myself. So
it's always the way.
It's always the way. Yeah, it is what it is. Any other thoughts on that?
I would just say I didn't know what to think about going. I don't know what the series is called that we went to, or what's being offered, but it's offered for first responders and their spouses, and I didn't know what to think about that, to be honest, because we talk about bringing our authentic selves to things. If I really wanted to spend my Friday night in like a training facility, but it was well worth it, and something that I'm glad that I did. And I look forward to more that are coming out, because I think some good, real conversations can happen. And I think that you find that maybe you're not alone in some of the thoughts that you're having. And so I just encourage people, if you have an opportunity to check out one of those sessions, to definitely do it, and heck, make a date night out of it after with your spouse. Support some local business on your way home.
That's right. That's right. Nothing beats a spicy margarita after standing up there and talking wellness. But no, you're exactly right. Because I thought the same thing. It was Friday night. Come on. I know the training center has committed to wellness, first responder wellness, and I think that's awesome. Long overdue, but we also didn't really have the one roof to do something like this. And now that we do, I think it's fantastic. And hopefully in the very near future, I'm going to have a guest on here that will be able to talk more about what the mission and some of that stuff is. But you're right. Even me being in the front as a kind of a talking head, there were some people there that really just had a lot of good input, a lot of eye openers for me. And you want to know something that one takeaway that I have? I presented at a conference in Rumford, and then even just from the other day, talking with Abby and Karen, I noticed that fire has a big presence.
Yeah, the room was definitely a diverse but more heavy fire.
Yeah, and so in Rumford, it was the same thing. And I think that's great. I feel like I've been missing the boat on that. I need to connect, I think, more with some people in the fire service and see what they're doing, what they're up to. It's at least for those two instances for me, they sure as hell are interested in it. and both of them were pretty good sized crowds. So like, let's go. You know, I need to connect with these people. Somebody was there from corrections, which I thought was freaking awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
I don't think I've ever seen that. You know, that's just, I shouldn't say that I have, but like not locally, not in the area. So that's a good sign. And again, it just speaks volumes to what the training center is going to be able to do to bring people together.
It was definitely engaging, and I think not formal, and it was just had a comfortable, open forum discussion format, and that just felt welcoming and nice.
Yeah, I completely agree. On the topic of family, this is going to be a little, I don't even know if this is like shameless self-promotion, but it's something.
It's not even that. It's like save our sanity. We're rolling deep right now.
Yeah, not so much me, but you got to help family. And
truth.
And one member of our family is hustling hard right now.
She's a hustler for sure.
Yep. So I'll say that if anybody's interested in some Girl Scout cookies, we got to connect.
And we are going to bring her on so she can share her thoughts about Girl Scout cookie season.
All right. So we're here with Miss Charlie, who is our Girl Scout, and she is just trying to slay the cookie game right now. Hi, Charlie.
Hi.
What's your goal for selling cookies?
2,000.
What did you sell last year?
1,050.
All right. So if you meet your goal, what do you do with the money?
We give back to the community, and we shop for food pantries, shop for toys for other people, and go to pet shelters.
You go to pet shelters?
Yes.
Well, that sounds like a lot of great stuff that you do with that money.
Mm-hmm.
What kinds of cookies do you recommend for responders, first responders?
Adventurefuls. Their jobs are always an adventure. Peanut butter sandwiches. So they always have a sandwich to eat.
Any others?
Thin Mints. Their taste is strong. Plus, responders are strong.
I love it. If anybody's interested in cookies, we're going to throw a link in the podcast description. And look, you might not buy them from us, but if you got a Girl Scout near you, certainly support them. They do a lot of great things with that money. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much. Stay safe.